Here are the solutions to the AP problems, pages 57 to 64, 1 through 4, page 185, 77, and 83, and then the evens from the textbook. So this is from Monday's assignment. I'm going to talk about the AP problems, and then I'm just going to post a PDF of the bookwork just written out. And if you have any questions, just email me. All right, so let's take a look at the 1 through 4. All right, so number 1 was just a chain rule. We're applying the chain rule, so then y prime or dy over dx, we would just bring the 2 down in front, times the inside stuff, then times a derivative of the inside stuff, and then multiplying these two together will give us a 6x squared times the quantity x cubed plus 1. Now for number 2, if you needed to use u substitution, you could follow along below. So we're going to go ahead and let u equal negative 4x, then du over dx would equal negative 4, and then switching this around, dx is equal to du over negative 4. So I'm still keeping this as x equals 0 to x equals 1, e to the u, and then times du over negative 4. We could pull that out or just leave it here. And again, these are just the x values. So then when we go to take the antiderivative, this now just stays the same. And then I'm going to put the negative 4x back in for u. And then continue to simplify here. So I'm going to put the 1 in first, so it becomes negative 1/4 times e to the negative 4th minus negative 1/4 times e to the 0. E to the 0 is just 1, so this becomes a plus 1/4 here. So we get negative 1/4 e to the negative 4th plus 1/4. And they just switch that around for d here. All right, looking at 3, really just an explanation here. For x is greater than or equal to 0, the horizontal line y equals 2 is an asymptote for the graph of the function f. So all we need to remember, horizontal asymptotes are connected to limits at infinity, and that's why e would be true here. So a horizontal asymptote would pretty much explain the behavior at the far off ends of the graph there. So as x keeps increasing with outbound, f of x would approach 2 there. 4 is a quotient rule. Just go through that carefully, and you should get D. All right, for 77, we're looking at the integral from 0 to 5 of 3. So we could separate this into 3 dx plus the integral from 0 to 5. We could actually put the 2 out in front of f of x dx. So this first part just becomes 3 times 5. And over here we get 2, and then the integral from 0 to 5 would actually be putting these two together of f of x dx. So that would actually be the 6 plus the 4. So we get 15 plus 20. So again, what I'm looking at here, that will give us a 35. But taking this part right here, the integral from 0 to 5 of f of x dx is the same thing as going from 0 to 3 of f of x dx, and then plus 3 to 5 of f of x dx. So that's where I'm looking at the 6. That would be the first part here, plus the 4. Right, now for 83, we're looking at the table to help us get a possible value for f prime of 3. Now, we're not given a function, so we're relying on the slopes of the secant line. So typically, when we're looking at this, we would just look at these two ordered pairs. And what we're also given here is that both our function f and f prime are strictly increasing on this interval from 0 to 5. So if we were to just find the slope of the secant line, we would say f prime of 3 is approximately, we would do the 48.05 minus 39.20 over 3.1 minus 2.8. And you're allowed to use a calculator on this one. So if you do that, you should get 29.5. Now, if you notice, that isn't an option. So what we're going to do is actually do this 2 more times. We're going to figure out the slope using those 2 points here. So we'll call this the left point. trying to kind of close in here. And we would find the slope of the secant line there, so we could say that would become 49 minus 39.2 over 3 minus 2.8. And that should give us 29. And then coming from the right, we're going to do these two. Slope of our secant line. We'll do 48.05 minus 45 over 3.1 minus 3. And we get a 30.5. So I only did this just to kind of help us confirm that the answer here was D. So we know we're not going to round down. We can get closer to the 30 here, but if that confused you as to which one should you really go with, and we typically just round up, that this should be good enough. But if you wanted to verify this, since the derivative is strictly increasing, and if we went just a little bit to the left of x equals 3, we're a little bit below it. And then if we go a little bit to the right of it, we're at 30.5. So again, right in the middle there would be that 30. Again, because f prime of 3 must be between 29 and 30.5. And since our derivative, f prime, is strictly increasing, we get that 30 there. All right, so just showing you, these are all of the answers for Monday's assignment. Just worked out. I'll just have this posted as a separate PDF, but let me know if you guys have any questions.